Coming up on the Paper Talk today, we'll be looking at the morning after the night before. We'll be getting into a bit of the fallout from the Arsenal defeat, including a massive fallout between Jadon Sancho and Erik Ten Hag. I don't think this one's going to have a happy ending, so we'll be talking about that. We'll also be looking at the takeover. What is happening? We're hearing that the takeover was off. Gary Neville disagrees. Let's get into it. Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford and it's pretty sunny, even if the mood is miserable after yesterday's defeat at the Emirates. Manchester United losing 3-1. A lot of the stories this morning centre on the fallout of that, and also the fallout between Jadon Sancho and Erik Ten Hag. We'll be getting to that in a minute. First of all, we'll talk about this takeover. On Saturday night, there was a story in the Daily Mail that Manchester United, or the Glazers I should say, were about to pull the plug on the sale. They were going to pull out of selling Manchester United and postpone it till 2025. That was what the Mail was running with. Now, Gary Neville was speaking about this yesterday on Sky Sports. He also tweeted about it and he said, "I don't believe the Glazers not selling doing anything story. They have to do something. They've run out of money and the financial situation is desperate. They need investment in. They're also having a toxic impact on the club from the inside out. The negligence continues for now, but I don't think it could go on without some action on raising funds. Also, who would come in as a minority alongside them with the damage it would do to their reputation?" And then a shrug emoji. So Gary Neville not believing the story that we ran, or that was running on Saturday night. We went live with it, that the Glazers were about to pull a plug on the takeover or the sale. We've not had much movement on the sale either way. We know Sheikh Jassim has come in with a bid. We know Sir Jim Ratcliffe has come in with a bid. From what we gather, those are the two main bidders. Yet it's all gone quiet. It's been 11 months, is it, or 10 months since we had that statement? No, I think it is 10 months, sorry, since we had that statement saying that the Glazers were looking for strategic alternatives when it comes to Manchester United and finance, and that looked like them indicating they were going to sell, hence the reason we had all these bids, several rounds of bids, and now we're in a bit of an impasse, and that impasse in some quarters has moved into them not selling. It's actually looking like a bit of a reversal. As always, we'll keep you posted. Get involved in the comments and let me know what you think about that. Don't forget as well, if you're not doing already, to subscribe to the channel. But not the news I wanted to hear on a Saturday night, that the takeover could be off. We've spoken to the 1958 several times about protests. We were here with him not long ago interviewing Steve from the 1958 about the sit-in. I took part in that myself. We will keep posted if there are any more protests, which of course there will be, because the movement against the Glazers isn't going away anytime soon, especially with the latest news, regardless of what Gary Neville's saying about it. Now, let's talk about Jadon Sancho and Erik Ten Hag, because this one kind of came out of nowhere a little bit, didn't it? After the game yesterday, Erik Ten Hag said, Jadon, when referring to why he wasn't playing, on his performance on the training, we didn't select him. You have to reach a level every day at Manchester United, and we can make choices on the front line. So for this game, he wasn't selected. So he's indicating there that Jadon Sancho hasn't been putting the effort in training. That's what I gather from that. I mean, you may see it differently, but if you do, by all means, get involved in the comments and the chat and let me know. But for me, that's pretty unequivocal. He doesn't believe Jadon Sancho is putting in the effort in training. Now, not long after that, Jadon Sancho posted on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, "Please don't believe everything you read. I will not allow people saying things that is completely untrue." That are completely untrue, Jadon, but I get your point. "I have conducted myself in training very well this week. I believe there are other reasons for this matter that I won't go into. I've been a scapegoat for a long time, which isn't fair. All I want to do is play football with a smile on my face and contribute to my team. I respect all decisions that are made by the coaching staff. I play with fantastic players and grateful to do so, which I know every week is a challenge. I will continue to fight for the badge no matter what." Now, this is the last thing we needed after a demoralising defeat at the Emirates, to see one of our most expensive players falling out with the manager. But here we are. Erik Ten Hag's made his feelings clear. Jadon Sancho's replied. I don't think this has an happy ending, personally. I think this is going to end up, unless I'm very mistaken, or unless something changes drastically, with Jadon Sancho leaving Manchester United. And I think if he can't mend his relationship with the manager doesn't rate him, that's probably best all round. The problem you've got is Jadon Sancho is on a lot of money. He's one of the most highest paid players in the Premier League, which makes you one of the highest paid players in Europe, basically. I think he's on around 300k a week, if not a little bit more. Obviously, we've chased him from Dortmund for about 18 months, 2 years. I was stood here every day almost talking about Jadon Sancho to Manchester United, Jadon Sancho to Manchester United. In his first season, he didn't really do a lot. It didn't really happen for him. It wasn't necessarily all his fault. It was the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer getting sacked, Ralf Rangnick era, a bit of a disaster for the entire club. But you can't deny the fact that he didn't really turn up either. He didn't have a good season. Then the second season, the first season under Erik ten Hag, did okay for a spell, had some time off. There was rumours that it was because of mental health issues, which if that's the case, I get it. You should always support people when they're struggling with mental health, but that's not been confirmed. Whatever happened, whatever reason, he was given a break. Erik ten Hag did let him go away for a couple of months to get himself right, whether that was mentally, physically, whatever, and then come back. And since he's come back, he's done all right. He's not really set the world alight either. So I think that whilst he might feel a little hard done by with Erik ten Hag's comments, and there's an argument to be made that it doesn't help when you're calling out your players in public, maybe you need to do that behind closed doors. I don't think we've seen anything like the player we saw at Dortmund from Jadon Sancho at Manchester United. And you have to wonder if we're ever going to see that. And when you've got your manager questioning you publicly, then that only ends up going one way. And how many times are we going to back a player over a manager? When Jose Mourinho was calling out the players, when Jose Mourinho was falling out with people like Anthony Martial, like Paul Pogba, the club more or less backed the players. It got untenable, didn't it? And Jose Mourinho was sacked, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came in, and he had a completely different approach. He was the sort of manager that would put his arm around players. He was the sort of manager that would back his players. He was the sort of manager that would shake your hand after you've just got 2 yellow cards at Watford and been sent off in what turned out to be his final game. He was everyone's mate, and that didn't really work in the end. He was probably too friendly with some of the players. He was probably too soft with them. Erik ten Hag's come in, and he's got a bit of a mixed approach. With some players, he's backed them, he's supported them. We saw the way he's handled Marcus Rashford. We saw what he's done with people like Luke Shaw, like Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Sometimes, though, rather than the carrot, he'll use the stick. He wasn't having it with Cristiano Ronaldo after that interview, and I don't blame him. I thought that interview that Cristiano Ronaldo gave to Piers Morgan ended his time at Manchester United, and rightly so. And now with Jadon Sancho, he's given him a chance, he's given him a break. He's done what he can, and he sees a player, in his opinion, who isn't pulling his weight in training. So he's called him out on it. And are the club going to back Jadon Sancho? Are we going to say, you know what? We're not having this. Let's get rid of the manager and let's back Jadon Sancho. Or we're going to back the manager. I think we need to back the manager. Now, if the manager thinks he can still get a tune out of Jadon Sancho, and if this is his way to do it, then fine. If he doesn't, and he thinks he needs to move Jadon Sancho on, then I'm sorry, but I think that's what you've got to do. You've got to move the player on. I mean, maybe we could be having this conversation if it was someone like Bruno Fernandes, who's played basically every minute under Erik ten Hag, or maybe even Marcus Rashford, who scored most of the goals under Erik ten Hag. But Jadon Sancho hasn't really done a lot under Erik ten Hag. Yes, there might be mitigating circumstances, but in the cold light of day, he hasn't really put in the performances week in, week out for Erik ten Hag. So, if push comes to shove, is he a player worth sacking your manager over? I don't think he is. Now, I'd love this to have a happy resolution. I'd love to see Jadon Sancho playing for Manchester United week in, week out, putting in the kind of performances we've seen sporadically at Manchester United and we saw pretty much every week at Dortmund. But so far, we haven't seen that. And if we're not going to see it, and if the manager doesn't believe in him, and if he's not happy, and if he's fallen out with the manager, then it might be time to move him on. Now, I know we've got to wait till January to do that, and it might be an issue with his wages, but I think this situation is getting untenable. Get involved in the comments in the chat. Let me know what you think. Do you think the manager was right to call out Jadon Sancho? Do you think Jadon Sancho was right to respond? Do you think Jadon Sancho's been good enough? Do you think we need to see more Jadon Sancho? Because I'll be brutally honest with you. You've got serious issues. If you're a £73 million, £72 million player, whatever it is, and you've got the likes of Kundo Palestre getting in the squad ahead of you, no disrespect to Palestre, but you know, he's a relatively unproven youngster. And also, yesterday, we saw Alejandro Garnacho coming off the bench. If Jadon Sancho had been sat on that bench, I still would have rather have seen Alejandro Garnacho coming on. I think he's much better as an impact player. You've now got Højlund coming in down the middle. You've got Marcus Rashford moving over to the left. And you know that your €100 million signing, Antony, is going to play on the right-hand side. Jadon Sancho isn't a first-team player for Manchester United as it stands. So he's got to break back into, well, he's got to break into the squad for starters, but then he's got to break into the first team. Let me know what you think. Just another quick one as well. Martinez, Sancho Martinez, apparently he's not injured. I saw there was a story doing the rounds yesterday. I think it was a South American journalist tweeted that he's not injured. There was I think he was wearing a protective foot protector thing, but apparently he went off with a bit of a knock, didn't he, when he went in for that challenge with Eddie Nketiah. But it's not a serious injury, hopefully not anyway, and that's what the latest stories are, because we need Sancho Martinez back. So hopefully He'll be back soon after the international break. Hopefully Manchester United can get back to winning ways. We've got a tough game against Brighton. But before that, Erik Ten Hag's got other things to deal with, not just the Jadon Sancho fallout, but also rallying the players and getting them, when they are back from the international break, ready to go again, because we have to sort out this away form. We've got a home game coming up, I think, next. I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, when we start going away to the bigger teams, we've got to start picking up points because it just ain't good enough. Anyway, if you want to get all the post-match reaction from us lot, go and check out the other videos on the channel. You've got Andy Tate, you've got Stephen Alson, you've got myself as well doing live review, so I won't give you another one now. We've got more videos coming up this today, obviously, so make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. I'm Jay Motty, outside a pretty sunny but slightly noisy Old Trafford. Thanks for watching.